Welcome to Everything But the Kitchen Dink, the podcast where we discuss all things pickleball with your hosts, Rob and Andy.
Welcome back to Everything But the Kitchen Dink. Today, we have a very special guest.
Yes, we do. We have Basti Grau, European Sales Manager for Joola.
Is it Joola, Yola?
All of those go, I guess, in the US, but we go with Joola.
Joola.
German company, so Joola is the proper.
Okay, fine. We've been saying it wrong for about 2 years now.
That's okay. I've heard a lot of different versions over the last 6-7 months.
Okay. So you're happy with any?
Not necessarily, but
Okay.
I don't discriminate. Let's say that.
Okay, fine. So thanks for joining us today. I mean, when I looked at your CV, oh my God, you are one clever boy. You have had quite a journey, and we're looking forward to hearing all about that. Can you just give us a bit of background about yourself? Obviously, you've got a couple of degrees thrown in there. You've been to the States. Just a little background on your education and how you ended up in America and where you're at now.
Yeah, definitely.
That would be great.
Definitely. So I guess the journey starts when I was like a little kid and we were like doing sports all the time. So I've been a sports person all the time and went through high school in Germany normally. And then, business law and sports degree, also Germany. And then I needed something else. And I was a runner back then, like a mid-distance runner. And I've seen most of the running tracks circuits in Germany, and I was kind of tired of it. And I wouldn't be good enough to make it to the Olympics or whatever. But I've been in the German region a good bit, and I knew the people, and I felt like I need something different. And then eventually the talk started with the US because the scholarship programs to the US are very strong, and it's always very attractive for athletes to go over. And I secured a deal with USI. Is University of Southern Indiana, as on the track and field team. The downside was I had to run cross country as well, which I enjoyed in Germany because that was also like mid distance cross country, like 5 or 3K even.
I used to hate that at school.
Yeah, I used to pull the asthma card.
Yeah,
and I had to do it.
Yeah,
it always worked.
Somebody that hates running, I totally get it. But once you're over the hump and once you're like into the scene and actually you do pretty well, then it gets addictive in a sense that you kind of can't stop, don't want to stop, and you're just drawn into that. And for a couple of years, I had the feeling that I'm a runner. I can't be anything else, actually, right? So that's where I was back then. And the US gave me a good opportunity to go. And I just felt like this is the journey I have to do now. I have to go to the States and try it. And after a couple months already with the coach, he said, "Hey, Basti, this seems to work well. You're a nice guy." I put the good work in, I guess. So he offered me to do 2 years. And I said, I'll take 2 years as well, because that would finish my master's in the United States, which is good. And the first running year was actually very, very successful. I got a D2 national championship in the indoor mile, which was big deal for me, big deal for the school. And I think that kind of, proved my decision right. And the second year I still ran, but I had to worry about injuries a ton and kind of slowed down on that. Didn't slow down, but had to manage more injuries than manage my running. And then, I knew it's time. And in May, after those 2 years, my degree was done. Running was basically done. I dumped my spikes into the trash can and only ran twice. I ran twice since then, which is crazy, actually.
Right.
And then 6 months of hiatus, I moved to Atlanta, which is where I found pickleball. Then 6 months later, moved to Atlanta for an internship, walked across the street to a gym and found a flyer. And those posters, like they look like, pretty cheap, like 2 color flyers, like pretty simply done. And I was like, what is this? And
so what year was that?
This is 2019, very early 2019.
Yeah, that is
mid of 2018, I was at the Georgia State Games in my internship, which is a nonprofit to organize Olympics within the state of Georgia. And I heard about pickleball, and I heard that old people play it, but they're into it. It's crazy. And I couldn't go because I was responsible for track, cycling, and table tennis. And one of the events collided with the pickleball weekend. Right. So somebody else took care of it. But I just had heard it. And then I started the gym again and said that I got to try that, because I was trying to swim a little bit, stay active, but definitely no running. And then pickleball came. And
Have you actually played any other racket sports besides when you just started pickleball? Like, did you play tennis or anything like that?
No tennis. Tennis, really, I played like 2-3 times my whole life. And I don't know if I would be any good, but definitely not very good. Table tennis, I played 1 or 2 years in a club, but also very regional and like once or twice a week, no professional coaching. But yes, we have hit several balls at several different balls. Like I have a twin brother who turned out to be a pro runner at the end, and we played table tennis, basketball, soccer, hockey, whatever you can think of on the streets. So I think I've always been people say an athletic person in the sense that I can do a lot of different things.
Can I just ask, your twin brother, is he an identical twin? Because that would have been great, because you could have just switched halfway on the run and no one would have known.
We could have. I think people would say he was close enough. And actually, I was approached several times by some foreign runner saying, "Hey, I know you." I was like, "I don't think I know you. I think you don't."
So I guess in pickleball, there's no targeting if you play together because nobody knows which one.
Well, I don't know. I think there is because he's a lefty and I'm a righty.
Right. Okay.
But that to this day, actually, I kind of want to do. Like he's living in Hamburg, far away from where I live. I live in like southeast area, and he's all the way up north, so it's like 6-hour drive. But he plays table tennis now. He's done with running as well. But when he comes visit, he just shows interest and he likes to play pickleball. He just doesn't have the competition up north, but he is into it and I want to play with him. And we always said when we do it, we just do, lefty, righty, you can stack or not, or just mess with people a little bit. So that would be very fun.
Yeah. So it's interesting that your pickleball interest came before your current job. Because normally other companies we've spoken to, they take up pickleball because the company decides to go down that route. But I noticed you were also at Adidas as well. Was that in America or was that back in Germany? And did that have any effect on pickleball as well?
That was back in Germany during my bachelor's. I was a sales rep for Adidas running back then, like in the brand ambassador team. And it was natural for me because I grew up 20 minutes away from Adidas headquarters. And back then I was thinking I'll end up at Adidas and I'll work there. And, back then my mindset was running. So Adidas was a natural choice. And I've done that for a long time. And it kind of got me into that sports event scene. And I never wanted to get out of that. So it didn't affect the decision to go to pickleball, but definitely affected the decision to come back to sports because after all that masters in the US and coming back to Germany, I was in automotive for 2 years as a sales person as well. So the wire harnesses to Audi Mexico, which was totally different from what I've done before and what I'm doing now. And very challenging and interesting, lots with numbers, but also not easy discussions. So definitely good training to go through. But that has ended last year. And actually, I've been playing for Joola as a pickleball player for almost 2 years now. And
okay.
Yeah, well, this is Joola Germany, right? Like
okay.
Joola is maybe a little different, and they're working on a bigger scale than we do in the pickleball world, at least. But Felix and I were the first Joola pickleball players to be signed in December 2022, and that's how the relationship started. We thought, Joola is a German company back then, and we approached them, and they were interested, and signed us or equipped us. And since then, I had relationship with them, chatting about which players they could bring on, what events are important, like what you do. And back then, Joola Europe was not fully aware of pickleball, or they knew a little bit, but they didn't know the scene from the inside out. And I had been in that European pickleball scene at that point for 2-3 years now. So I was kind of consulting them on WhatsApp a little bit. And last year, August, my automotive job was not for me anymore. And I quit that heads over heels, basically, and just sent my resume to Joola and said, can we do something? Like, I'm interested. And it didn't take very long. My colleague now, he was convinced very easily because he had known me for a while. And also here, the general manager here and also in the United States, they have approved fairly quickly. And we kind of, agreed on final terms and got started in October. So that transition for me obviously was perfect timing. I think it's also perfect timing for Joola Europe to start this now and be involved. And since then, I'm a player. I'm a tournament person. I'm a player person. I'm trying to do
You're hooked. You're totally hooked.
Am I right? Am I right in thinking that you speak 3 languages?
What's the third one? I don't.
Well,
English, German, and Spanish. Is that right? Or
Spanish really not so much. I try and
okay.
I've started, but no, I could understand, but I can't hold a conversation.
Okay.
we were going to ask you to carry on in Spanish for the rest of the show. But okay.
Don't try me. No.
So obviously you've explained how you sort of came into Joola. How was it always predominantly a German company, or is there a massive American head office now?
Yeah.
And do they have other offices around the world?
Yeah, the Joola as a brand was a German brand, started in over 72 years ago, and they've started building table tennis tables, like production in Western Germany. So that's how it's all started. So we have big knowledge in table tennis and racket sports, and they've tried, I think, several others, but table tennis kind of stuck, and that's still the biggest market for us in Europe. The American part came, I think, early 2000s when it got taken over by the current CEO or by the current company. They're located in Rockville, which is north of Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And obviously they have caught on to the bug of pickleball fairly early and used all that development, all that knowledge about rackets into the pickleball scene. And now they've made it to a top 3 brand in the US. So people would say worldwide for sure. And yeah, that's how the American team is working now. They basically work more pickleball than table tennis, and for us, it's still way more table tennis than.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right.
Yeah, flip-flopping. Yeah.
So your current role at the moment, can you tell us what that involves day to day and how you run that at the moment?
Yeah, it's called the Sales Manager Europe. So I'm basically responsible for all the retail that's happening in Europe, like small retailers. And we talk also to other companies, but I have obviously support from our staff, like when it comes to logistics or knowledge or bigger topics. I have also support from the table tennis colleagues. But my day-to-day is talking to retailers, talking to players that we might or have already sponsored, negotiating with tournaments, a lot of different topics. Basically, anything that kind of runs into Joola Pickleball Europe hopefully goes over my table.
I know a couple of the sponsored players in the in the UK. I know quite a few that you've already sponsored. In fact, I just played with one in a tournament last weekend.
Okay.
We won gold, by the way.
Oh yeah.
he just wanted to get that in. That's all. Well done. Well done.
Who is this? And did I make right choices sponsoring?
Richard Love.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Recent.
He's just recently signed with you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I've met him in Rota, I think, in May, and just kind of the vibe of him kind of stuck with me. He's a nice guy. I think he's a
good guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he couldn't have done it without Robert, but
yeah,
we'll leave that for another show. So how was it? It just seems like it might have been a natural progression to go from table tennis for Joola to go into pickleball. And considering the European routes, where it's only really starting to grow fast now or over the past 12 months, was it a big decision for the company, or was it just a natural flow into it?
I cannot say much about how the Americans felt about it, but I think in the US, the table tennis market, or like the growth of table tennis overall, is pretty saturated. Like they grow, but the market is not exploding anymore, right? And a big established company has to take risks eventually and diversify to like new upcoming things that are maybe small now but have big potential. And for the US, that obviously paid off really, really early. And I know that Richard, our CEO, they kind of invest a lot in new projects and partnerships. And for Europe, the decision to take it on was, I've not been there at Joola yet, but this is what I hear now, was not very difficult, because in the beginning, like 1.5 years ago, when they started putting pickleball products out, they didn't have to take the whole range over. They took over a couple of paddles and started and tried, right? But there was not too much pressure. And worst case, you burn 100 or 500 or 1,000 paddles, and the company is still going to be there, but you have to try. And now we're kind of still driving on that wave that we try to pull the ranges over as much as we can to Europe. But some things work well, some things don't, because the markets are different.
Yeah,
but
that's interesting.
Yeah, for sure. But we can definitely benefit from from the US team because they create a lot of the marketing content. They help us, so they create the products, right? And that kind of helps us to take that risk in Europe because we're not falling back on a lot of debt or like high risk investments. Obviously some, but for now it's working. And as you guys said, it's growing. So why would we stop investing?
Right. So were there any initial challenges for the company entering the market, and how did you overcome those?
Yeah, I think there's challenges. There's always challenges, especially if you work on 2 different continents and different markets, and you have different time zones, and that the products don't come from the US right away. They come like from Asia a lot. So you have that trouble. And we had certain moments where we thought, it's good that it's all one company, but it could be better. And you guys have to understand that the US Joola is like, yeah, it's Joola, but we are, yeah, a part of it definitely, but we also have to act as our own business in a way because it's this European market. So the products launched in the United States are always in the spotlight, right? They launched the C2, Hyperion C2, late last year, and it was boom, it was there, and people kind of caught on to that second generation. For us in Europe, it took a long time to get the C2 for whatever reasons. I was very fresh at that time, but it took a couple of months later. So by the time that we in Europe have the C2 here and can sell it to retailers, the Americans are already moved on in their heads to the next product, and maybe even marketing material is kind of out or about to be out, right? So by the time that we have this C2 at the retailers, the American team or American players are already with the next generation. And that's troublesome because if we have such big delay, or if we don't know when the next thing is coming out, then we're not catching the wave at the right time. We're catching it when it's already coming back down. And those are issues, I guess, that we're solving, and we're getting better. Like for the latest generation we brought out, we were within a week or 2 of the launch, and then suddenly you can benefit together. And that's how we want to work anyways. We want to stand as one big brand, and that's how we're trying to manage.
Can you tell us a bit about your current product range, your go-to paddle, and what's some of your best sellers in the UK market, for example?
Okay. Oh, I didn't do all the number research, but I tried.
Oh, it's fine. You don't worry about it.
You can guess. It's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the ranges, they span really from everything from beginner sets all the way up to the premium rackets that are at like 280 per racket. I think really well right now go the sets. You know, we have the Blue Lightning set, for example, or Tundra set that go well because now a lot of people get into the sport and try it, and what they ask for mostly is something that they can buy and start.
Yeah.
Right? So
it's
they
like
get
a beginner set.
Yeah. How much would that cost?
That is at 130.
Okay. Is that 4 paddles? Is that?
It's 2 paddles.
2 paddles.
2 paddles, 2 indoor, 2 outdoor balls. So it's beginner stuff, right? You can play with it for a couple months, but then it'll wear down, or if people stick with it, they notice that there's probably better product out there. But those go well, and then our elemental net goes well because the price point is just fair. It's like under $200 for the net, so that goes well. Yeah. We just noticed that now people want to get into it, and they just buy something to try, and then when they come back, they might buy something else later on. Where we've been always very, very good at, and still are, is our premium rackets. You know, that when Ben Johns came on to Team Joola, he had his Hyperion coming out, and that was the first big premium racket that Joola had, and very successful. Mm-hmm. To this day, I think it's a good racket. But now racket brands have incorporated carbon fiber on their surface.
Right.
And now we work with different shapes, different thicknesses of the core. 14 and 16 for us are the most common. And so there's, alone in the premium segment, there's like 8 different options for players, right? But it's basically the same technology, just the shape or thickness is different, right?
Yeah. Too many for me. I don't understand it. I have to ask Robert.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of questions you can nail it down very, very easily, right? Yeah. There's question power or control.
Correct.
Right. Long or short grip. And then you're already down to like 2-3 paddles. And if you ask the question of how much are you willing to spend on your next paddle, then you're hopefully down to 1 or 2 paddles.
That
this
makes sense.
Joola though, so there's always, I don't know how many brands there are, but in Europe I think there's 10 active, but you know there's probably hundreds, and in the US we have thousands.
Yeah,
right? Here's like
Do you think that Joola's history in table tennis played a part in the paddles, or was it starting from fresh, or did you use some of the technology that you already had as a company?
It's definitely played a part. I don't think we can use it one-to-one because, you know, the table tennis racket, I have one sitting here, it's like wood, right? And you have rubber in the middle, and then you have the red grip on top. That doesn't, I wish that goes for pickleball, because then we have super good rackets with like tons of grip on it and like lots of pop. But it doesn't go. But definitely the development and the factory connections and kind of, you know, how people think and how they create proper rackets was there. So it's not the same technology, but it's similar places and similar people that kind of work on those products. And we knew, or the American team knew, how to develop products and make them better.
And I guess the manufacturing side as well was already there.
Yeah, although I imagine that's going to be very different, because you're not doing like soft rubbery stuff or like wood rubber and then the red rubber on top, but you do one-piece products, right? Like this racket is like a one-piece product.
Right.
And then you get it out. But the table tennis racket, you kind of, a proper one, professional one, you get wood, and you get the sponge in the middle and then the red rubber on top, and you know, you glue the wood and the rubber together when you get it. And for pickleball, you can do that. Now
the only sorry, I was just going to say,
I've got the thing.
the only one I've ever used is the one where you're on holiday and the rubber is sort of hanging off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I use.
Yeah, we have. I know those. I think they're very, very common in the barns.
They are. Just a couple of questions regarding the paddles. What is your paddle of choice? What would you play with? And also, do you make an edgeless paddle? And are you thinking about doing something like that? Because I personally love an edgeless paddle. So is that something that you're thinking of doing in the future?
Mm-hmm. Good questions. I mean, my paddle of choice is the Scorpius.
The Scorpius. Yeah.
I see the Scorpius is what Colin Johns plays, right? And me and my partner Felix, we kind of mimicked our game, what the Johns brothers do. So I'm the right side player. I try to play similar like Colin does, and he's so
we do that, don't we?
Well, we try.
There you go. See, then the right side guy, I think it's an easy choice because you have the short handle and you have lots of square, so you can protect a lot in front of your body, right?
Yeah.
So I need like basically a lot in front of my body for defense wise, and the left side player needs maybe a longer handle or a longer face at least, because he goes lateral a little bit more, so he needs more reach, and I need more kind of reaction and maybe lucky bounces on the paddle. So that's why I like going for the square. And the 16 for me just makes a lot of sense because it keeps the ball in play, and pickleball, a lot of it is to keep the ball in play.
Yes, it's
and
true.
win rallies with hard shots from the kitchen. And if I want to hit a ball hard enough so it goes out, then I can, even with 16, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I can do that quite well.
There you go. I think all of us know to do that. If you beat 24, you'll hit it out.
Go on then, finish with the
the
edge and the edgeless paddle.
Yeah, we're thinking about it, and I'm pretty sure it's out in the US already.
Oh, really?
Thanks.
Interesting. Interesting.
Take a look. We are thinking about it. One is out or coming soon. It's coming soon to Europe for sure.
Does that have a different name? Is it just one of the other paddles' name, but just edgeless?
No, it's not like in the very premium range. It's in the medium tier range. It's like $170. It's called Magnus CAS Lion.
Okay.
I
hope you guys are streaming this after the product is really launched. But I think so.
We will be. We will be.
He's bought it already.
Okay.
Where does Joola sit in the market, sort of compared to other major brands?
Yeah. To Europe or US?
Just around the world.
Okay. I think we are definitely a top 3 manufacturer when you talk about quality, but also I would think about quantity. There's obviously other players as well. You know, there's Cyclops, it's a very, very big player, and you know the other brands as well. But we're sitting in a pretty good spot. I think I'm very happy to work for Joola because there's not much convincing for me to do, because people already acknowledge that those paddles are good. When most of the pro players in the PPA, MLP, they play those paddles. And for Europe, people look to the United States still. Like if they want to know about pickleball, they look to the United States and look for what Suxrud plays or McGuffin plays. yeah, or even other pros, right? But they look what's being played. So for us, it's not a hard sell usually. And the products, yeah, they work really well. And we in Europe, I think we sit at the very beginning of something that's happening now. But yeah, I at least have tried to get my hands onto a lot of different things, players, countries, areas, whatever you want to have, and it shows that we are there. And this is a little bit of early investment, but I think it helps, and it does for sure help the sport of pickleball, which is what I'm kind of looking forward to, right? Of course, my job at the end is to sell rackets and to put a lot of Joola products into the hands of people. But I think if I'm able now to help the sport of pickleball to grow, and if I'm able to support that move by making it look more credible or more nice, or the play look better overall, then I'm happy to do that in the role, because it benefits all of us, even you guys. I hope even you guys feel what I'm doing in my day-to-day job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So how does Joola engage with sort of the pickleball communities, especially in the UK? I've seen some Joola events going on, and is there more plans to do more events like that?
Yeah, we're trying to work with them. I know Steve Beal. Greetings to
Steve, yes, yeah.
He's been a partner of us, and there's been others, and we have a couple of retail partners as well in the UK.
UK Pickleball Shop,
for example. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is a couple of spots that we try to get in. The UK market, though, is not the easiest with all the Brexit stuff going on.
Of course.
The customs, shipping.
Yeah.
It's a little more complicated, a little more of a headache to bring something there than it would be. Sometimes even Spain or Portugal is easier, although it seems so much further away, but it's easier than to bring it to the UK. But we try to build strong partnerships there and get through that way. And as I said, all the players, we've tried to get some in the UK. We have Molly, Richard, there's Tom Tude now, there's Pete Hitchman. There's a couple of them already active, and we hope that they are very good ambassadors and players for us, and we have to rely a little bit on their eyes and ears too.
Yeah.
Okay. How does a company go about getting somebody like Ben Johns and keeping them? I mean, I know it would be very easy to say money, but any company would offer him the same money. So how does that work, and how do you keep a player like that?
Good question, and I don't have the full insight, but I've kind of heard that actually players come to us and ask, hey, I want to play with your material because I know it's going to help me with my game, and I want to join that team. And that obviously helps with the negotiations and also to keep a player, right? If the players are very confident in the products, then they would come. And for Ben especially, I think there has been a little bit of history with his table tennis too. I think he played some of that in years. And that's why he was already knowledgeable. And I think he's from Maryland too. Like, he didn't grow up very far from the headquarters now. So there was some connection already. And when he started with Joola, I think on April Fool's Day, like 3 years ago, there was a post made that, what was it done? It was something like that. Yeah, because Ben Johns had played with a different brand at that time. And then there was a post done that Ben Johns now plays for Joola table tennis or something. Was the
right? Okay.
And it also came out that I will have the Hyperion now. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So there's history, and I think most of the players come for the quality, and Joola is just visible. So I think players and tournaments also, they gravitate to brands that kind of give them visibility, right?
So are you always looking for the next Ben Johns, or the German Ben Johns, or the British Ben Johns? Is that something?
I was going to say, we have Colin here, we have Ben over there. So.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. Maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we definitely are, and I try to be at a lot of events and meet players and see and listen. Like Richard, I wouldn't probably know, hadn't I heard from him about through, like, I think Molly or something kind of gave me that name first, right? So that's how it works, because we can't be everywhere.
So it's a network.
Yeah, we're definitely looking, and I think the team now consists of a lot of young and also older and then middle-aged players. It's a very rounded team.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's very cool, and we're looking for the next one, but I don't think we've seen him yet for Europe. Like we have very good players. We have a guy in Sweden, Arvid Dahlin is his name. He's 17 years, or Uroš from Serbia, who is 16 now, I think. So those guys are good. They're already taller than me. They're already as good or better than me, right? So they have future ahead, and I think they're going to be really good play-wise. But I'm not sure if Pickleball Europe will be ready when they are ready to make the same amount of money, or
Yeah, it might be a while.
Yeah.
And Ben Johns just came in at the very, very right time. Like,
Yeah.
And there was other ones like Kai Yates and Weinbach and all of those guys, right?
Yeah.
And they were out for a couple of years, but then when Ben came, also the money and the sport came.
Yeah.
Right? And that sometimes it's luck or bad luck.
Right. So do you find that these Joola sponsored events help with the brand, and is that a strategy going forward to do more of those?
I think they do help. I think they do help because people see it, and usually we try to have a partner of us then and there. So it also helps our partners in the UK a little bit to push sales and to push some content out. So they definitely do, and we're trying to do more of those. Although, it's not always easy to have our own staff at the events. It's actually mostly not possible to have our own people at the events, right? Mostly we rely on retail partners, or rely on our players to go to the events or tournaments and kind of make it a good face or a good example for us. But definitely trying to improve those, and there's more things coming. We're trying to come out with a court now as well. I think you've seen the first version of it last December in Austria at the European finals, which is a big product for us. They put out the rollout courts, and I think that's that's helping hopefully to improve just the level of play, not like how good we play, but how we play, right? That's also has to be improved. So
what about are there any thoughts for a Joola pickleball facility?
Thoughts, yes. Wishes, for sure. They come from me mostly, and I think we have this topic at the office, if not once a week, then more, because that definitely is important, and we're trying to do that. We're located in Karlsruhe with the office, which is Western Germany, and I think it would make sense to have some statement court or a little facility, if not for us only, but also for the neighbors, clubs, friends, guests, whatever whoever comes visit. But a Joola facility definitely is in the brains, because we've seen it being done in the United States, and it definitely is a good spot to be. And I hope to do a couple of those. We already have some partnerships in Germany with Stuttgart. They have one, or there's one in northwestern Germany. There's a couple, but I want to do more and more. And I think it's going to come, but we have to understand that in Europe, we are like 3, 4, 5 years at least behind the US.
Well, we want it now.
I know. I do want it too, but copying in 1-to-1 will be very difficult. But I think we can cut that waiting time down a good bit. We don't have to wait for 5, 6 years to do it, because we all feel that it's going to work. We just need now the right puzzle pieces at the right time and the right location, and we can go. But I'm always open ears. So if you want to propose something or want to build something, then you have
absolutely.
We do. We have no money, but we're quite good at proposals.
Okay, that's always the issue, right? Like, personally, I wanted to build a court for a long time at home, like just for private leisure.
Exactly.
Right?
I'd be happy with one court that I could just go and play, like a proper court.
But then you need money, time, and the place, right?
And weather.
Well, I would play
indoor.
Indoor.
Light roof, not fancy, no AC, no stuff, but just like a tent-ish solution. That's what I thought would be great. But then you miss the time or the money or the land, and it's hard to get all three.
Exactly. Yeah. So what are Joola's sort of expansion plans globally for pickleball?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, you asked the question earlier too, and I forgot to answer. Like the Joola US is the biggest part. I guess that's the main company. We have a big core in Europe because it's from the table tennis history. But there's also other subsidiaries all across the world, and I think there are more and more coming up. Like we have a couple in Asia, we have Brazil, we have Canada, which is kind of attached to the US, but still a little different. So we're trying to grow, and obviously Asia is, for example, an attractive or interesting market. In Brazil, I know there's movements going. So Joola should be a worldwide brand sooner than later.
Yeah.
What are the markets like? Obviously, we know America is massive. We know the UK is growing fast. How is it in Germany, and what are the other emerging markets? Is India and other parts of Asia, are they going to overtake us?
Yeah, I'll answer the Europe first, because I think in Europe, English is the biggest market. The UK is for sure. Whether it's for the language or the connection to the APP, I'm not sure, but that has seemed to work very well. Spain is coming up strongly now for the weather and travel reasons, I think, and also Spanish people are rackets players. I've always noticed that Swedes are pretty far ahead because they had a couple of paddle facilities kind of fall apart over the last years. And
that's interesting.
Yeah, they had a big investment hub a couple of years ago, and that kind of blew up. And now they resurfaced the paddle courts and make pickleball courts out of them. And also they're big tennis players, I guess. Like the people I play in Sweden are tennis players mostly, and they're just good. They might need some coaching on strategy once in a while. So greetings to my Swedish players, but yeah, they can hit the ball for sure.
Yeah.
And then for Asia, I've been at the Indian Open in February this year. We got over a couple of European players went over there, and we were amazed like how much buzz it has and how good the play is. So Indian,
that's what we heard.
Yeah, Indian players are sure good. The top two Indian teams are definitely in Europe's best or even better. I think they can even hang with some of the American teams. So definitely good market. And for China, I've heard rumors that they're kind of holding back inside their walls and gyms, and then try to pop out whenever they feel like it's ready. So they're like drilling and they're playing pickleball already, but not to the public eye. And once they think it's worth it, they just come and run over the market.
Yeah,
I wouldn't hold it against them. I mean, the badminton worked, right? So
yeah. Just a question. Actually, that I've just thought of, because I actually played paddle today for the first time, and it was a lot of fun. Have Joola got any desires or ambition to get into the paddle market? And even, is there a market there for rackets for that kind of thing as well?
I would think that definitely is, but no, we're not trying to go there. I think the paddle market is almost saturated with all the tennis brands already. That natural transition. And for now, we're very happy with table tennis and
pickleball. Yeah. Okay.
It works well. And paddle, I played paddle once. Twice now. Once in Mexico, once in Germany. It's okay. The game.
It's no pickleball, is it?
No, definitely not.
No.
I think there's so much fun in passing somebody and walking away, and he can't hit the ball anymore. And paddle is frustrating, right?
Yeah.
Brings it back, and but in a way, it's a similar game. In a way, I think
it is. Yeah.
I've never played it, and to be honest, I've no desire to. It's pickleball all the way for me.
For sure, I just played paddle once or twice because there was no pickleball in Mexico yet.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Are there any? I know everybody these days, we have to do the correct thing with sustainability, and I know there's a lot of recycling going on. Does Joola have a program of that?
Oh, that's a very, very good question. I'm not aware. I'm not aware unless you are.
No.
I think we're thinking about that, but I do not know if. But I would hope that we're acting environment friendly.
Okay, fine. Some people care about that, so
I do. I would, but I've lived in the United States, and I know that it's not always on the biggest stage.
I guess it's priorities at this stage.
Yeah, but for us, I would think we source responsibly.
Yeah.
Are Joola doing anything to help with grassroots pickleball? Getting people into it.
Yeah, that for sure. I mean, I myself, we've traveled to a couple of different spots trying to get people into it. Like I was in Austria end of June. They started to do pickleball, but also there's a lot of stuff that we kind of have schools approach us, clubs approach us. There's a program in Munich. It's called Pickleball Crew in Munich. They have asked, and we're open to like support them with material just to sort of try, and they kind of put the word out, and eventually hopefully it evolves into a partnership. So definitely interested to do that. But we don't have the manpower to run out and go to schools like twice, 3 times a week, because really the pickleball team here in Germany is like 1.5 people. Like it's myself doing pickleball 24/7. I don't do pickleball at all, table tennis at all, and my colleague who is doing also table tennis. And for us, it's going to be tough to be on the road a lot.
You need help.
We do need help, and I think that's where we have ambassadors too. We have facilities we partner up with, and I know that people, once they are hooked into pickleball, they are willing to do something. And sometimes they just approach us and say, "Hey, I'm an ambassador already. I have your stuff for myself, but I would need an extra net or a couple of paddles extra to coach." And usually we're very, very keen to do that, to provide to them so they can go and really spread love. And yeah, I think what I said earlier too, if I go somewhere and somebody used a different paddle, I'm not gonna be mad at it or look at it twice, right? I'm definitely okay. I just need people to put any pickleball paddle in their hands and start playing.
Yeah. Well, what if somebody hands you a paddle from a different brand?
I have to take all the phones out of the other people's hands for sure. But I try to hit them eventually. I mean, you got to know what's on the market for sure.
Yeah,
I like to try. Yeah.
So you must have used some that you absolutely love, but you're not allowed to love them.
Oh, not so much, honestly. No, I've been with Gearbox before, and they were edgeless back then. That's what attracted me to it. I knew it from the United States, and we started with them. That was fine, but then the contact wasn't very easy, so we kind of cut that. And yeah, and then the Joola came out with the Hyperion, and my buddies, they had bought the Hyperion and said, "Hey, this thing is automatic." And I was like, "What do you mean automatic?" And I said, "Yeah, just try it." And it actually worked out really well. And since then, I haven't found a paddle that I would change to. I mean, again, we're trying, we're curious, and we try other paddles that are now but they're all different. They're all good in a way, but I don't think that I would be much better or worse with a different paddle. Maybe worse, but not much better with a different paddle in my hand. Yeah. And I think it's a matter of getting used to those, right? You have to get used to it. How to hit the shots, where the ball comes out nicely, and maybe in what moments it doesn't. But after a while, you get used to it. And I'm happy here. It's all good.
Okay. So big question now. What do you see? What trends do you see emerging over the next sort of 4 or 5 years? Where do you see everything going?
Yeah, I see it all going more professionally, and I think more commercially. And honestly, that is also a good movement. Because I now see international people kind of getting invested. I just saw a post today that there's $1 million tour coming out from, I think, driven by the Indian team. They're putting out a tour that pays millions in prize money. That's going to attract obviously American players as well. But you see that with the MLP, it's now in Australia, and people from the US go to the MLP Australia to play there because they want to have some money or attention. So I think that's going to happen. And I would like this to happen in Europe as well, in a way that we can book proper courts when we need them, because the next generation of players is not necessarily going to be the players that go to the club night every Tuesday and Wednesday, or Tuesday and Thursday from 6 to 8, but they want to play on demand, right? This is the next generation. They go on their apps.
That's what we need.
Yeah, they see, I have time from 11 to 1 p.m. today. I need to play. So they go on their app, and they book the court, and they play. They cannot wait around for 6 p.m. to happen, because again, the demand is just, different. So I hope that this commercially driven stuff kind of comes out, and it will attract more and more brands. And that's what we're pushing for a little bit. Like, we're not neglecting the clubs for that not, but we're always happy when a commercial provider comes and says, "Hey, I want to build something, and I need support or advice, and we want to make this professional and really big." I think that's good. Yeah, and the overall landscape, we'll see. I think lots of it is going to change, politically, certification-wise, governing body-wise. I think lots is going to change, and we're definitely not there. I think in Europe with the EPF now, we have a good body, a good start, and the best thing about it is we have only one of those European federations, which is. But if you look to all the lots of nationalities, there's like several, right? There's 2.
There seems to be a lot of power struggles in a lot of countries, and that's a little worrying.
For sure.
But I guess that you get that in most sports, don't you?
Yeah, and you still have it like in darts or boxing or golf, you still have it, right? And I wonder how they came to the top, or I wonder how they came to the Olympics, for example, right? Because that's what pickleball is aspiring to, go to the Olympics sooner than later.
Well, I was going to mention that. I mean, when we first heard that it was rejected, I was a bit relieved, to be honest, because I don't want a dream team basketball style of thing. And I don't know what the situation. Do you have to be a demonstration sport before you become an Olympic sport? Is that how it works?
I think for the Olympics, I think for the Olympics, we're missing a ton of things. Like we're missing one international federation, and now we have like 3 or 4, I don't know, but we need one only. That's the first thing. And then we need drug testing in place, which we don't have. We need we cannot have players calling their own lines in a competitive stage. Something has to go.
Yeah.
There's a couple of clear red flags that we can't have anymore. So had the Olympics accepted us for whatever reason, it would have been madness. I mean, imagine if an Olympic medal, which changes the path of an athlete's career, right? One goal changes their life, right? And then you make a bad line call. Like, how is that going to happen? That can't happen.
Yeah.
So we're far away, and I would hope that it comes very, very soon, because I'm definitely interested. Maybe as a player, I'm very optimistic, but I can be a coach or a consultant in 28 or 32.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to be at
a
least 8 years. And probably more.
I feel 2028 is not going to happen, because we're still fighting in the weeds, and there's nobody kind of, giving room for the Olympic spirit. So I don't think that's going to happen. 32 would be great, but I'm also saying 2032 is also less than 50% chance that we get it. And I think a big slowdown in all that playing field is the United States, actually, because they're not giving way to an international body who cover the whole world of pickleball. They want to keep the United States, and they want to add on to the United States umbrella. But that's not how it's going to work for the IOC. The IOC needs an international, global thing.
Interesting.
Right? And until those federations there, like whatever they call it, USAP, UPA, whatever exists there, claim to their American territory, and they're not willing to give it up or join with something else, it's not going to happen.
Maybe if there's a over 70s, we'll in the Olympics, we'll be able to play in it.
I don't know. There is in the Olympics, I think, right? There is.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
You don't want to admit to that.
No.
Yeah. I mean, maybe there's also an event called I think it's called the World Games or something. That's all the sports that are not in the Olympics.
Right. Okay.
That's an interesting spot for us to be for the next. I don't know.
It is going into the Invicta Games. Did you hear that? In the UK. Yes. Yeah. So it is going to be. Is that next year? Is that the Invicta Games?
No, I think it's 2027.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
2027.
Can I apply as a foreign player, or does that work? Can I apply?
No, I don't think so. I think you've got to be
it's ex-forces
or military or things like that. Yeah.
That's the one thing that isn't on your CV.
My brother was in military, so maybe I can.
Yeah. I'm sure you could swing that.
Yeah. Do you feel that the growth of pickleball, do you see it impacting eventually on participation of table tennis and tennis and other sports? Do you think it's going to be that big?
Yeah, it will be, because it's so mainstream. It can be so mainstream, right? We know that table tennis is mainstream, right? But the professional sport is really in a bubble for table tennis. You have those people that kind of glue their brackets together, right? You have the indoor tables, but the real table tennis, the mainstream side, is outside on, outdoor tables, concretes, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think for pickleball, you can play pickleball on the same court professionally and at mainstream or casually, right? So once the pickleball courts come, it comes for all the markets at the same time. Pros, seniors, kids, schools, youth, like anybody, right? So I think it will be, and the potential is there because people seem to like it and it's so accessible. So definitely it'll come. I think the hardest challenge we have in Germany for sure is that the movements are going very slow with governments to change lands into other things, to build playground sports. That's going to slow it down, and that's what we're kind of working through right now.
Okay, I guess we just have to be patient.
Yeah. Finally, really, the last question I've got for you is, what aspects of pickleball do you find the most exciting or endearing and really gets you up in the morning that you want to go into work for? What's your favorite part?
Oh, that's challenging because I think it has changed a little bit over the last month, right? Before I was at the office team, I was thinking about shots and drills and how to play the right strategy
Yeah.
more, I think. And now I think more about what can I do with pickleball in Europe? How do we push it? Who do I talk to next? And it kind of the focus has not shifted, but I'm still a player and an employee at the same time. But now I have to kind of find room for both. For me, the pickleball is the most exciting thing is that you can play slow and kind of grind people down, and you don't have to go by force or big athleticism, but a lot of it happens in the brain or in reactional skills, right? It doesn't happen with force. So that for me is very, very fun. And I mean, I just love to kind of dink a little bit and then hit one through the middle, and it kind of bounces in, and the people look at each other, and they were like, "Nobody hit that?" And I was like, "Yep."
Yeah. Happens
So
a
for
lot.
me, from the soft to the from the slow to the fast, and then back to the slow is like so exciting.
Yeah,
It's fun.
it is, and you realize that almost as soon as you start playing.
Yeah,
it's
and the
just so
serve is
addictive.
powerful, and both in tennis and table tennis, I have the same limitation, right? I think I would love both of those sports if not for the serve, because tennis I probably can't even serve well, and if somebody serves to me, I'm out of the stadium. But in table tennis, it's the same. Somebody serves really well, I can't even put the ball back on the table.
Yeah, it's true.
Pickleball, I think you have a 60% chance, even if you play against a pro, to get the serve back. I
Yeah.
hope I'm overestimating.
Okay, well, speaking of your play, you are coming over for the English Open, aren't
I
you?
will.
So
Oh,
this
that's
whole
great.
time I've been thinking, you definitely look younger than us. So hopefully we're not playing you.
I don't know what you guys play in.
We're in the 45 plus.
Yeah.
No, I play in the Open, so you guys are spared.
Yeah.
Okay, thank God for that.
Oh, well, we'll catch up with you when at the Open and have a chat.
Yeah.
I'll buy you a coffee.
For sure. When is the 45s? When is the 45s?
We're on the Saturday.
Yeah, the Saturday morning.
I will be too. Yeah, I will be too. I'm not sure about the daily schedules per se, but
When are you going to be there? When you thinking of going?
Thursday noon.
I'll be there Thursday.
Great. Yeah, we've not partnered, or we've not decided to do the battle of the paddle for this year.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, we did do that for this year for all the complications that we kind of went through.
Okay.
But we're definitely in talks with Pickleball England and the English Open, and we want to do that because I think team formats are fun, and we have to be there eventually. For this year, we just didn't feel like it's the right timing. But I will be Thursday through Monday, and I'll play Saturday the men's with Felix. We hope to kick a lot of teams out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I was going to say, are you the only Joola representative from the company, or have you got people coming from America or somebody coming with you?
I'm not aware of people from America, but we'll have here two people here are coming with me, so we're going to be a team of 3. And they play in several divisions. I think so 3 people from Team Office Joola. Hopefully a couple of players will come, and Felix and I hope to kick out all the European teams.
Brilliant.
And we'll try very hard with the Americans.
Well, maybe we'll get a game against you.
Yeah, it would be great to play with you at some point.
We should definitely. Yeah.
Any weaknesses you've got?
My partner, usually.
That's what I say. Well, thanks again for the great insight and for giving you the time. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure everybody out there has found it fascinating as well. And we look forward to seeing
you soon.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thanks for talking, and see you soon.
And don't forget, you can get Joola paddles
at the UK Pickleball Shop. Use our code EBTKD.podcast. It's a bit of a mouthful, and you'll get 10% discount at the UK Pickleball Shop.
So thanks for listening. Have a great week.